Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Mary, in charge of training and career advisory services here at Corporate Staffing. And today we are discussing about CV Revamp and just shedding more light on what it is and some of the reasons why you need to consider revamping your CV. I am joined by one of our CV writing experts who will be shedding more light in this subject. Thank you, Ruth, for joining.
I'm glad to be here.
Great. Just as the topic suggests, what is CV Revamp to begin with, and why should job seekers undertake CV Revamp services?
So most people don't understand the importance of revamping your CV. But before you understand the importance of that, you first of all need to know what it means to revamp your CV. To simplify it, it's the process of reviewing or updating your CV to highlight your relevant skills or experiences and achievements. If you want to apply for a certain position, let's say an accounting position, for you to apply for that position, you need to change some things on your CV to fit that position. Now that process of adding information or removing information is what we call CV revamping. Some of the things you should consider while revamping your CV, or if you should revamp your CV, first of all, it gives you a deeper understanding of your core skills and values. The moment you revamp your CV, or when you go through your CV, when you remove some information, you understand more about yourself, what you possess and what you can offer. And also it reflects your capabilities. Your capabilities will be reflected on your CV in a way that when, let's say for example, you are an expert in customer service. When you put just their customer service, you leave it at that customer service, and you want to apply for a position in customer service, the more you revamp your CV to fit that position, you'll do some research on that, and you'll get more information about that, bringing out your capabilities. And also it gives you a higher chance of getting a position or a job in any organization, because you would have tailored your CV to fit the position you're looking for.
As a CV revamping experts, based on your experience, what are some of the reasons that make job seekers to consider revamping their CV?
So some of the reasons we have: changing into a new position or career change, basically. So if currently you're working as a manager and that position ends, you get another job, you need to include that position in your CV. That's what we call, you have changed your career, you have moved to another position, so you need to show that process. You moved from this position, it should be indicated on your CV.
Like the transition process.
Transition, yes. And also by changing industries. You may be doing the same position in this organization or this industry, but when you move to another industry, you also need to include it there in your CV. And another thing, we have gaps or inconsistency. If you took a career break, you also need to include it in your CV. You can, let's say you stopped working in 2020 and right now we are in 2024. Even the hiring manager would want to know what are you doing in between here. So you need to include that.
And some candidates or job seekers struggle with showing the career gap, how to capture it in the CV.
Now for that, you can just, maybe let's say for example you took a career gap to focus on your studies, you took a career gap to focus on other businesses. You don't really need to tell more about it. You cannot say, I took a career break, I was pregnant, I did this and this. No, just a brief explanation. You can read, let's say from 2020 to currently, or 2020 to 2023, I took a career break to focus on other businesses, or I took a career break to focus on my studies. Another thing, we have formatting and structure. As time goes, the formatting changes. You cannot expect the formats they used to use writing their CVs back in 2019. It's still the same format people use right now. So the more things change, you also have to change your CV to fit the current job market.
So that you remain relevant.
Yes, and also the significant work history. When I say significant work histories, there are some of the work histories are updated. Some like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. The more you continue working, the more you continue looking for jobs, you have to remove some of them. They are not relevant anymore.
I fully agree with you. Now, you started by defining CV revamp as a process. What are some of the key elements that goes into the entire process of revamping a CV?
So some of the key elements, first of all, before you even revamp your CV, you have something in mind. It's either to apply for a job or to look for a job. You cannot just start revamping your CV. You have something in mind, you want to do something. So if you want to apply for a job, or if you have that job description, you first of all have to analyze that the job you're targeting and the industry. You have to analyze research and revise, just know more about it. So when you go to revamp your CV, you can know where to start from and what to include. That's the first process. Analyze the job target, know more about what it requires, what are they looking for, the specific skills they are looking for, if you don't have them, so that you can include them in your CV. Another thing, after now analyzing, you revise your content. Revise it, revise your CV. What don't you have? What do you need to include? What do you need to remove from your CV? You analyze it to make sure it's correct, or if you need to include anything. Now that's the second process. You analyze your CV before revamping it. Then another one, we have optimizing the formatting and the structure. Look at the structure of your CV, the format. Does it match the current format or the professional format they are looking for? Or does it match the job you are looking for, or the job you are targeting, or the industry? Look at that structure. If it doesn't, you now change. You look for the ones that are more relevant, the ones that are readable, eye-catching. Eye-catching, I don't mean that you look for things with a lot of images. No, professional formats and structures. And the last one, we have proofreading. After going through all those processes, make sure you have already revamped, you've already revised, you've already analyzed. You proofread your work from the heading up to the end. Is it readable? Have you used the correct language, the correct wordings, the correct font? Proofread it, make sure it's correct and it's perfect. Yeah.
I love the entire process. And of course, as we always say, when all that is said and done, you can still seek for professional CV revamping services.
Yeah.
Because an expert being, and you'll agree with me, you've worked on so many CVs, cutting across different sectors. So you definitely know what captures the attention of the recruiter in the CV. Thank you so much for sharing.
Welcome.
Great. When it comes to CV revamping, over and above what Ruth has shared with us, it is important to give your CV that professional touch. And that is why we encourage you to share with us your CV, the document just as it is. Ruth and her team will be able to reach out to you to advise on whether the way that document is it selling you out for the opportunities that you're targeting? Does it need a professional touch to make you more competitive in the job market? We look forward to having you sharing with us that document and also having you in our next video. Thank you for watching.